Starting a motovlog can be intimidating and costly, but I found it to be worth my time and money because for me it's fun, it satisfies my creative need, and has opened me up to a community to make new friends around the world. For some time I've been wanting to make a series of videos to give you a realistic and comprehensive look at what it takes to start up your very own motovlogging channel, so you know what to expect before starting vlogging adventures of your own. But before I jump in, I wanted to take a moment to address anyone who just got their motorcycle license. It may seem easy to ride and talk at the same time, but if this isn't something that comes naturally to you, and you find talking while you're riding is distracting you from being an alert and safe rider, please use your best judgment and be cautious. Your safety is priority number one, and certainly more important than your channel. So know your limits before you hop on your motorcycle to record content for your YouTube channel. Now with that out of the way, let's jump right in. Part 2. Recording, editing, and uploading. I want to preface part 2 by saying that I'm not going to be going over the nitty-gritty of how to set up your individual cameras, how to edit in your specific editing software, or how to upload your video to YouTube. The purpose of part 2 is to provide a general guide including best practices that should help you find success with your YouTube channel. Remember though that success is relative, and there are very few who will find quote-unquote overnight success in the form of subscribers and view counts. Recording. I found that recording or creating content that I myself would find interesting and entertaining has been the key to my channel's longevity. Portraying an authentic version of yourself on your channel will also help you to build a base of subscribers who tune in specifically because they connect with you. Something important to consider before you begin pouring yourself into your channel is that the entire process has to be fun to you and needs to be able to hold your interest. And that includes the long and sometimes tedious process of editing. If you ever feel like getting out there and hitting record feels like it's becoming a chore, your channel will likely have a short lifespan. Now that we've put that serious discussion behind us, let's talk about best practices for recording. First and foremost is the technical stuff. Before you head out on the road, do your testing. Few things are as frustrating as finishing up a recording session only to realize your videos do not have sound or your camera's angle was set to the wrong setting. If you're running a GoPro Hero 5 or later, I recommend using Super View as opposed to Wide. Though the super wide angle skews the edges a bit, it will also take away the chance that you'll miss high or low on your camera's actual physical angle. Now this may sound obvious, but check that your batteries are charged. Take extras if you think you'll need more time, because you don't want to be in the middle of recording a second or third video when your battery dies. Sound for me is priority 1. And depending on your mic setup, it's best to do some tests to make sure your audio isn't too loud or too soft. This is going to depend on a few factors, one of them being mic placement. Right in front of your mouth to me is not the best location, as it usually is close to a vent and in a direct line of your breathing. I always make sure to close my helmet's front vent, the vent near your mouth. If there's too much wind noise, you may have to limit your rides to slower speeds when you're recording until you can troubleshoot a way to eliminate some of that noise. Another best practice is that I always record more than one video at a time. This is really important if your plan is to publish multiple videos a week. When you go out for a recording ride, shoot for as long as you need to record what will amount to at least 2 videos. Before I had my phone mounted on my bike so I could reference my notes, I always memorized a few bullet points to make sure that I was staying on topic. It's okay to be long-winded because you can cut out what you need in post, but remember, the more succinct you are on camera, the less time you'll spend on the back end editing it out. My last tip for recording is to take some time to capture extra video and pictures from your ride for what is known as B-roll, and also for use in your video's thumbnail. Stop and get a wide shot of a pretty view from your ride, or take a 10-second video of something that relates to what you're talking about. And that's a perfect segue into my next topic, which is editing. An easy way to add variety to a video is to make sure you don't spend the entire video in one angle or point of view. This is where the extra B-roll footage comes in. Using your B-roll can enhance your story and give you flexibility when editing. B-roll doesn't always have to be your own video or photo either. I often use others' content within YouTube's community guidelines to liven up a video. I'll also use clips from movies and TV to crack a joke or to drive home a point I'm making. Now by far my biggest tip for editing is to cut the fluff. If your video has a subject or a point, make sure you cut out anything that strays too far from that subject. It doesn't mean you can't ever get sidetracked, and trust me, I'm guilty of that every time I record, but limit your tangents or viewers can lose interest. Fluff also includes those long stretches of silence, maybe when you're taking the time to formulate a thought. Of course, if you're pausing for dramatic effect, that's fine, but make sure that your silence has a purpose. Music is another layer that you can add to your video. In the last year or so, I've added music to my videos to help set the tone. You can use music from YouTube's audio library, or use copyright-free music from SoundCloud, or my website of choice, Epidemic Sound. Any of these sites have a ton of free content, but I personally choose to pay for my subscription to Epidemic Sound because I love their filter options and their user interface. And it also just has a ton of content available for subscribers. For $15 a month, you can gain access to thousands of songs, sound, and effects. My suggestion for those just starting off would be to use the free options and consider a subscription once your channel is bringing in a little bit of money, or simply whenever you feel like you're ready to put that investment into your channel. Of course, the biggest thing that's going to make you a better editor is practice. I will say though that you don't want to spend an inordinate amount of time on a single video. We are our own worst critics, and if you're like me, no matter how long you spend on a video, it's never going to satisfy you. So give yourself a deadline and stick to it. The last thing I want to talk about is uploading. One vital practice you will need to execute on is consistency. You'll want to find a realistic amount of videos that you'll be able to publish in a week or a month and post regularly on the same day. The more precise, the better, because if viewers know when to expect new content from you, they'll be looking out for it. If that means you need to schedule out very specific time and recording for editing, you gotta do what you gotta do. But know that publishing content on a regular basis is a huge aspect of what will get subscribers to come, and more importantly, get them to stay. Now, the process of uploading can be very lengthy. If your internet connection is slow or your video quality is high, I would say 1080 or above, you'll need to factor the upload time into your time spent. Some, including myself, choose to upload overnight, but if you choose to go that way, keep these two things in mind. 1, make sure your computer's sleep settings are set to keep your computer on. And 2, if you don't want your video to go public once it's uploaded, make sure you change the setting to private, or schedule to publish it at a specific time. There are a whole plethora of other settings that can be preset to speed up the process. So be sure to get familiar with YouTube's options that can help make your life easier. You'll also want to be sure to make relevant tags, add end screen links, as well as cards. Last and definitely not least, be deliberate about your title and thumbnail. Your title should draw people in and give them a reason to click on your video. And more importantly, your thumbnail should be relevant and eye-catching. YouTube viewers browsing and scrolling through a topic are more likely to click on a video because of the thumbnail as opposed to the title. So your thumbnail should be attractive and sum up what they'll see in your video in a single image. And one more thing about thumbnails, there should be a common thread on your channel's thumbs, so consider inserting a logo or your channel's name into each thumbnail. Even using the same font size and color will help add to that consistency. I personally use Canva for all my thumbnails, and I've never paid a single penny. It's easy to use, it has a large amount of free content, and it allows me to be creative in an organized fashion. Canva also allows me to add a level of professionalism to my channel, which can be enticing to potential subscribers. Now you should be ready to fine-tune, which we will cover in our final part of this series. If you made it to the end of the video, share with us in the comments what your editing station is and why it works for you. Do you use a laptop or desktop, Mac or PC, Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, or other? If you have any questions regarding part 2, please leave them in the comments, or feel free to hit me up on social media and on my website at thatoneguymoto.com. All of those links are in the description. If you found this video to be helpful or you enjoyed yourself, please don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Motovloggers, if you're out there riding, be safe. And if you're not riding, get riding. I'm that one guy, and I am out.